Good afternoon. How you doing? Well, it's roughly about 47 degrees out here. It's very, very light wind, just a tiny breeze. Sun is shining. I think I can do some little work out here. Not a heck of a lot, but some. And a little project that I've got for today is right over here. The gen house lock. The problem is we've got water dripping off the top of the roof here, and this wood, other than a very quick coating of black aerosol oil-based paint, I don't want this wood to, this is pressure treated anyways, I think, I'm not sure. 1/2-inch plywood that I put on here, but I want to get some oil-based paint in here before I put the redwood, which is just for decoration. So when I open this door, it's going to get water on it, so I'll probably put some plastic or something, a bag over it, because I'm going to have to open this door to work on this. Now, what my intention is here is I got an idea how I'm going to do this. What I want to do is just be able to have this secured, and I went to the hardware store and I'm going to show you what I picked up. I've been thinking for the last week or so how I'm going to do this, and I think the best way is to have a knob on here with a 5/16 bolt, which I've already purchased, and one of these, I can't describe what they are, but my local hardware store had what I needed. Here's what I picked up. 2 fender washers, 2 inches in diameter, 5/16 bolt, and hang on a minute, I'll get you on a tripod here. Okay. I have no idea what they call this. So I went to Home Depot first because I had to do my brother's shopping today because the weather was bad before that. And I couldn't describe what I was looking for. They didn't understand over there. And trying to find something like this in the bins they have a lot of things. I couldn't find anything. So I went to my good old local hardware store, and they knew exactly what I wanted. I don't know how well you can see that. I'm using the ZE-1, of course, my good all-around camera. But it's a 5/16 thread. I guess they use these for like when you want to put table legs on or chair legs or whatever, and they screw in. And you use 3 brads to hold this in. You drill a hole so that this fits snugly in. And then you put 3 brads in here to hold it in. So this is going into the frame of the gen house, and I'll show you exactly what I want to do, but I got to get some plastic over that wood so that I don't get any water into the wood, because it's got to be painted with oil-based paint before I can leave the door open. So the only oil-based paint I've got right now is aerosol. Rust-Oleum, that's oil-based. And that's what I'm going to, even though it's black, I'll protect it with that. But anyways, let me go over to the gen house now. I'll join you in a minute here as soon as I prepare the door to keep the water from running down onto the wood while it's open. Alright, because we got a lot of drippage here, so I want to try to keep this wood dry as I can. It don't matter here, I just don't want the plywood to get wet because it's unprotected. Alright, so let's get this down over here. I don't know if you can see at this angle what I'm trying to do, but this piece here, I'm getting water on my head. There's nothing I can do. It's from the melting snow on the main shed, and it's running down onto here. There's not much I can do right now other than make a gutter out of metal, and I'm not about to start another project. What I'm going to do, let me get you over a little bit more here. All right, this is going right here, right in this area here. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. Now drill a hole here, and I want to drill a hole the diameter of this here, but I want it to fit snug so I can tap it in and then put 3 brads in it. Now before I do that, I want to drill the outside hole in the door so it'll line up with here. Now later on, I don't know if you can see that. You probably can, I guess. I shaved this with the skill saw. I showed you that before. I'm going to just put redwood stain on that. Water really don't hit this. It's going past it, dripping down now. So it's not going to hurt that at all. It's not going to hit that, I should say. But this is not pressure treated plywood. This is just regular 1/2-inch plywood, so it has to be kept dry. So the first thing I want to do here is I want to get this door closed to get the hole drilled. And before I do that, I got to take some measurements. So hang on a minute. All right. I've already marked where the door closes on the edge. So I'm getting dripped on all over here. You like it when you got to read a ruler upside down. Oh, it's about 1.5 inches to the edge of the door. So what I'm going to do now is move this door and close it. Hang on a minute. Okay. So I have from the edge of this door 1.5 inches in before I hit the edge of the 2x4 here. There's actually 2 2x4s sistered together to make a 4x4 on the corner of this gen house. So I want to drill a small hole here to start out. And then we will make a hole just big enough for the female nut with the flange on it, whatever, I don't know what the heck they call them. But anyways, that'll fit snug into the 2x4, which I just showed you. And the hole that I'm going to be making in here is going to be a little larger, so it gives it an alignment, so it'll line up properly. This whole thing will be captive in here, and I have a package of O-rings that I got from Harbor Freight. So what I'm going to do is to use one of those, and that'll keep this thing on the door. It won't fall off. I'm going to make a knob that's going to go out here, and I'm going to make it simply out of a piece of wood using a 2-inch hole saw. And those fender washers that I showed you, one's going to be on the outside, one's going to be in the inside. Simple as that, nothing complicated. Okay, I just assembled this by hand in the hardware store so I can get it all home without losing the pieces.
The 2 fender washers and 2 nuts. But I'll probably only use one of them. So we'll take that apart. Not easy working with this water dripping down here, but there's not much I can do about it other than starting another project and making a gutter for that. Okay, it's essentially going to be, because it won't be sticking out this far, it'll be like this.
So it'll be a knob, the diameter of this. So the piece of wood that I'm going to make for the knob is going to simply be made out of a block of wood, 3/4 inch, to 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch thick. Nothing thicker than that. This is a 2.5, or I think he said it's 2.5 inch bolt. So that should be enough. We'll use this as a template. This can overhang just a little bit. We don't need to make it out to here. You know, in other words, flush to here. This can come over like this. So that way we make sure that we're not too far over this way with it, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to make the mark now, and we'll come back on this video in a little bit here. Alright, this Harbor Freight's probably got to be charged. Yeah, make sure I'm going in straight. I've been sitting all winter. What do you want, you know? Alright, now, that's where we're going to be. We're going to change the battery in this. Now, the first thing I want to do is to make the hole on the inside on the 2x4, and I'm going to have to open this and put the plastic back up on this thing again. I can tap that that nut on there, the flange nut that I showed you. I can tap it even and then, you know, make sure it fits in snug, and then put the 3 brads in there. And then this hole will be enlarged also, but it would be enlarged probably to about 3/8. I mean, the hole can be as big as a 1/2 inch here, because it's just going to be captive in there with the O-ring, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I get further along on this. Alright, I got that door, so there's a little plastic up there open, so that I should be able to get you zoomed in with a damn digital zoom here. Alright, I don't know if you can see that, but here's the hole right here. Let's make sure I'm straight on. Okay, I'm about 3/4. I'm in deeper than this here. Now, I'm going to try to tap that in. That's perfect. And we're pretty straight. Okay. Now I got that. That's in so tight I don't need the brads, but I'm going to put them in anyways. So we'll stop the recording for a minute here. I don't know how good you can see that, but I think you can. Not the kind of shower I want to get. I had to get these out of the shop because I have all my small hardware in my electronic shop. I gotta get my reading glasses. I can't even see that damn thing. Don't want to bend it over. What I'm trying to do is to drive the little brads. There's 3 little holes in this, to try to drive the brads on a slight angle away from the center. One more, and that should do it. It only takes 3. That's in there so tight that I probably don't need the brads, but eventually the wood could shrink. I doubt it, but it could, and therefore the thing could pull out. Perfect. Perfect. Let's take a look at that. All right, there it is right there. Now all I got to do is drill this other hole out here. That is right here. It's quite small right now. We're going to drill that out a little bit. A little larger than the 5/16 bolt, so probably maybe 7/16, I think. That's all right. We'll experiment because I want it to line up perfectly. It's very important that when I close this door, that this thing lines up. And that's why the hole in the door has to be larger than 5/16 bolt. Now, this should fit in loose in that hole, which is what I want. That's what you want in case it don't go in straight and go into the threads. This will allow any movement. Now, should that become out of whack a little bit, I can always file that hole bigger or drill it a little larger. Of course, there's a certain point at which you can't do it because you're too close to the edge. We're about 3/4 of an inch from the edge right now, so we're safe. So what I'm going to do now, I'm getting the water all inside the door here, but there's not much I can do. Hang on a minute, we'll get your camera relocated. There isn't much I can do about that right now until I make a knob for that. It's the washer's spinning around right now on it. Of course, I gotta sandwich a piece of wood between it and tighten the nut up good, and between a 3/4 inch piece of wood, and that'll be the knob for it, and then I'll paint that black. Alright, I use my Unibit here to make a nice round 1/2 inch hole, and it lines up perfectly with the captive nut in there. Alright, I got this cheap crappy Harbor Freight junk here. not much good, but I need a 2-inch hole saw. I bought this thing a couple years ago when I made my gen house and cut the vents out. I cut 4-inch holes, because this hole saw has you know, all the sizes I needed, but the things got dull. A soft Chinese junky steel that they use in this. I was able to drill 4-inch in diameter holes before the blade got dull, but it was only $10. So this is a 2-inch hole saw, and it hasn't been used, so I should be able to cut a piece out of a 3/4 inch piece of stock. Let's see, what mandrel do I need here now? Okay, I think this will do. We'll come back in a minute. I want to snug that up a little bit, get a wrench on that. Alright, we're not going to even think of using the Harbor Freight drill for this. I only use that for light duty. We're going to use the D.I.Y here. And I could not find a pressure treated piece of wood. So this is 7/16, I think. It's a little less than a 1/2 inch. So we're going to use this. This is regular plywood. I really didn't want to use it, but what we're going to do is we're going to coat this very heavily after we get this drilled out, after we make the circle, with Rust-Oleum oil base, and that will protect it. So today it's, like I say, 47 degrees. I don't think it'll quite hit 50, but the hell with it. We're going to do the job anyways. So we'll get my D.I.Y out here. And we'll set it on drill. My glasses on here. Let's see, are we in line here? Yep. Alright. Now hopefully this don't go all over the place. I got this tightened down pretty good. This is not a good drill bit. This is cheap, soft steel. Harbor Freight special. So it's going to take quite a while to drill to it. Alright, we're going to turn it over, and we got to clean the teeth out. See what happens here? If you don't get the teeth cleaned, you're just clogged up and you're not going to cut anything. So I'm sure most of you are aware of that. But if you're not, you know, you got to pull the drill out. This goes for a hole saw or a regular drill. And make sure it's clean so that the tool can do its job. So we'll take this off. We'll continue on the second side. And start with the pilot hole here. Alright, there it is. Not all that bad. That's a brand new hole saw, so it's never got used before, but if you use it 4 or 5 times, it will dull up, even in this soft wood. So I got to just smooth this out, and this will be one side of the knob where the bolt goes through. This will be the other side, and I'll have to drill this center hole out so it'll fit this, and you'll see when I get it done. There'll be a fender washer on each side, and sandwiched in and tightened down with the nut that's on here. I got to remove this and do that. So I'm going to clean this up off camera, smooth it out, and after I smooth it out, we're going to paint the hell out of it with some black Rust-Oleum paint. So my hands are going to get covered with paint because I want to get this thing assembled today. Might as well take this thing out of here. We don't need this. And I got this at a yard sale. Good deal on it. A whole bunch of this stuff. I'm just smoothing it out. Nothing fancy. This just acts as part of the knob rather than to use all these fender washers, you know, a whole bunch of fender washers on here. I could do that and make the knob too, but why do that? I got a scrap piece of wood.
Looking good. I'm rotating this as I am running it across the sandpaper. Now, before I start painting this, I want to drill this center hole out to 5/16.
And we're going to use some Rust-Oleum. This is oil base. This is how it's cold. So I'm sitting in the shed, but what are you going to do? You got to do what you got to do. You can't just use put plywood like this and have the rain get on it and expect it to hold up. It's not pressure treated, and even if it was, eventually it would delaminate, but it would take a long time, but it would. So.
Alright, let's get pretty well set here. We're going to drill out this hole first.
So we're going to find a 5/16. I can't read these drill bits anymore. So this is a 5/16 hole in this. Alright, that's got to be a 5/16. It fits a little loose in here. Yeah, I would say that's close enough to a 5/16. We're not dealing with rocket sciences here, you know. Let's see here. Hold it with the pliers. There we go. That's what I want. I want to be able to screw it on like that. Okay, so now, are we still recording? Yep, the lights are still going. Alright, so now, the next step is to paint it, but I want to prepare this first.
I want to cover this whole thing with Rust-Oleum. And I get my box wrenches out and I can tighten this properly. I chose a bolt rather than a screw because I can put a wrench on each side. So this will go in here like this. We'll screw in. I'm not going to put it all the way in, but essentially like that. Now this is a hair smaller, because when I used the hole saw, you know, you got to allow for the thickness of the blade, so it made it a little smaller than I liked it to be. But I think it would work out all right. So we're not going to put this on right now, because we are going to paint it. So in order to get this to go on a little quicker, let's give another shot of electric drill here. Okay, now we're going to do this. We're going to have to shake this up now. This is quite cold. Let me get my drill out over here. I don't want to get any paint on my ruler either. Turn that over.
And we allow this to soak in, so we do it 3 or 4 coats. Not all at once. Now, eventually, I got to get a little can of oil base. I should be able to still buy oil base, a small can, like a half pint, black, if I don't already have it. Everything you get is that lousy latex, and as I said so many times before, latex does not protect anything. It looks good. My deck lasted 25 years with 2x6 Douglas fir before I redid it. If you look back on those videos a few years ago I made. Well, that was back in the days when I built that, 1986. At that time you can get Cuprinol oil base, and that I had several years of Cuprinol redwood stain on it. And also the Cuprinol Clear. I had used them both. Can't buy that stuff anymore. So everything's crappy latex, so nothing's going to hold up. And this is oil base. Alright. Normally I don't like to, I save this for my, you know, my good projects, but I got cheap black paint. It's like $2 a can or $3 a can. A couple dollars more, not even that much. You can get these at Walmart. Sometimes they have them on specials. Now this is oil base. If this had been latex, this would be useless right now. This has been out all winter. I have never had any problem with any aerosol spray cans being out in the winter because they're oil-based. They will not freeze up. All right, I want to try to... I have to get paint on my hands now. I'm going to turn this over so I can paint this. It don't matter if I get paint on the bolt. It'll help protect the threads. Keep them from getting rusty. Alright, now being that it's cold out here, it's going to take a while for this to dry, and my hands are probably going to get paint on it, but I just want to put the initial coat on them. These washers are what they call zinc plated. If you leave them out in the weather too long, they will rust. So we'll let it set, and the wood is pretty wet right now, but what I'm going to do when I get this assembled, I'm going to hit the whole knob once the knob is all assembled with the oil base and let it dry. Well, I got the thing assembled, but the paint is sticky yet. I got to paint the whole thing again on the outside. I'm trying to find a lock washer that I can put on the inside of this. If I tighten the hell out of this, it should be okay anyways. And then we'll put the nut down on here, and that'll hold all this together. And this will become the knob. Alright, what I'm doing now is I got a star washer in here, and I'm going to sock the hell out of this. I'm trying not to get too much paint on my hands. I have lots of box wrenches. I got too much junk in the shed to get at it. So I'll have to use a more primitive way of doing it, but it'll work. Be careful I don't snap the damn bolt off. Okay. Alright, now here's your knob. Now I'm going to paint that right now. Stick a nut on here so we don't mess up the threads. And we'll lay these 2 washers here, just so we don't mess up the threads. I try not to spray on the top there. I just want to spray the sides. And the inside. Now it's a little overkill, I know, but we got to protect it. So this is about ready to go into the door. Now, naturally this nut and washers are just to keep the paint from going on the threads where I need to go into that captive nut that's inside that you saw me nailing with the 3 brads. So when that goes in the door, then I'll put a washer. When it sticks through the door, I'll put a washer on the bolt as it comes through the door, and followed by an O-ring, or 1 or 2 O-rings, and that'll keep the thing from falling out of the door. It's just a keeper to keep it from falling out. And then when I screw this whole thing in, it'll hold everything together. It's not a lock, it's just to hold the door shut. So when I'm in a storm situation, all I got to do is unscrew this. It'll stay in the door, it won't fall on the ground, fall in the snow or whatever, and I'll be able to close my door and screw it back in. Alright, I got a box of Harbor Freight O-rings here that I bought a while back, and we're going to pick out the size we need. This sun is hitting the viewfinder. I can't even tell if I'm in line or not. Alright, this came out pretty good. This will get hand painted, especially in the middle, okay, with oil base. This is, as I said, this is Rust-Oleum oil base. So now what I got to do is I got to stick this in the door, and before I do that, I gotta protect the door again, because that thing is still dripping over there. I'll meet you over there by the gen house. Alright, what we're gonna do is I got a washer and a O-ring. We'll put the washer on. We got the O-ring here. Now, what that enables me to do is to have this so I can screw it in. You probably can't see that with my ugly body in the way, but let me just zoom in here. Sorry about the movement. There's not much I can do. I'm working in this awkward situation here. You can see that, how that is. Okay. That's it. That's all she wrote. Nothing complicated. And that's it. So when I need to get in here, I just unscrew this. And she's snugged right up in there. Okay, that's it.